Hi guys, let's talk iOS 6. Or will it be called the new iOS? Hi guys, it's Simon from TechNight Video and we're talking about iOS 6, the operating system that runs on your iPad, your iPhone, your iPod, your Apple TV. And let's start off with what I like now about iOS. Well, basically, I like that it's simple. And I think that's why it's been such a success globally in terms of the iPhone. The iPhone is idiot-proof. Pretty much anybody can use them, young, old, and they are easily kind of recognizable, I guess. Because the customization is limited, they look the same. If you pick up somebody else's iPhone, it looks pretty similar. The icons might be in a different order, but yeah, you know, it's usable. You can focus on one thing at a time with this simplicity. Without widgets everywhere, giving you a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you can focus on one thing. Now, studies have shown that multitasking doesn't actually work. It is not an efficient way to work. Now, Apple talk a lot about focus. Focus, focus, focus. And because they talk a lot about focus, their operating system helps you focus. Now, notifications can be distracting a little bit, but they're actually talking about, there's been a recent report about a do not disturb mode, where notifications wouldn't actually come up at the top of the screen. They would appear in Notification Center if you dragged it down and they would be there, but they wouldn't disrupt what you're doing. Yeah, as I said, multitasking doesn't work. Jumping between one thing and another, and going, you know, you're reading an email and notification. Oh, text message. Oh, look at that. Da, da, da. Oh, a tweet. Oh, a Facebook. That chopping and changing doesn't work. It's not an efficient way to work. So multitasking is actually, you know, you can multitask, but multitasking isn't efficient. It's that simple, you know. It may be the way you like to work, but it's not an efficient way to work. It's not an efficient way to achieve things. There's actually some companies that actually outlaw getting up and walking over and talking to somebody at their desk, or ringing them, or texting them. You send them an email, and when they're ready, they will respond. And it's actually a much more efficient way to work. So I actually like that it's simple. You know, I might be alone there, but I think that for the average person, your non-tech user, the simplicity is what makes iOS such a good operating system as opposed to Android. So what do I think Apple will do? Well, basically Apple will do whatever they want. They don't care what you or I think. They're not interested in impressing tech nerds. They are interested in creating a user-friendly operating system that is going to appeal to a very wide range of people. They're going to do what they want to do. Somebody said in an article once, Steve Jobs doesn't care what you think. I think for the most part that's true. So yeah. So next is, what do I think Apple won't do? They're not going to become Windows. They're not going to become Android. They're going to be Apple, because that's what they do. They don't follow. They won't let us have a free-for-all, let's put it, in terms of how we lay out our home screen. I think the icons are probably here to stay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be widgets everywhere and 17 pages of widgets and then you go into a thing for your applications. I just don't think it's going to go that way. I think it's much more likely to stay the way it is with some tweaks, rather than a complete teardown. Let's make it look like Android kind of thing. Do I think they'd give that option if you wanted to? I don't think they'll do that either. In some ways I think they should. That it's nice to kind of have options, but again, Apple are about focus. Let's focus on one thing and do it well, rather than trying to be all things to everybody. And I think that's sometimes where Windows kind of struggles, is trying to be all things to all people. finally, what do I want to see added? What would I like to see added? And I'd love to hear in the comments below what you would like to see added to iOS, or what changes you would like. The first thing I'd like to see is icons for folders. At the moment we have icons for apps, but for a folder we have a picture of what is in that folder, and it means that every time you change what's in the folder you get a different visual representation, and I look for visual as I scroll. I'm looking for a visual icon. So what I'd like to see is user selectable icon images for folders. Developers will of course come up with their own images, and you would be able to just choose what images you add to your phone, a little bit like a ringtone. I'd also like to see the ability to arrange icons when you move them around however you like on the screen. At the moment they cascade to the left and to the top, but what I want to do is put this icon down here in this corner, but unfortunately it'll always move up there. As I scroll across, I want icons to be in recognizable positions regardless of the number of icons on the screen. So I want to be able to choose where I stack and put my apps. I don't want them moving around like that. I'd also like to be able to change the order of the screens of apps, and what I'd like to be able to do is pinch in and get a smaller screen of this version of this screen, like you used to see on the Palm Pre with app changing, and basically then I could actually pick up that page of apps and actually move it sideways and actually change the order. You can do changing the order of screens in iTunes, but you can't do it on the phone. So a simple pinch in and you'll be able to switch and change and drag the screen across. You could even maybe have a cross up in the corner if you wanted to delete a full page of apps from your phone. So that's something else I'd like to see. Rapid scrolling of app screens. At the moment you have to flick, flick, flick for every screen. What I'd like to see is the ability to just grab down here on this line of dots, and what that brings up is an enhanced bar, and then simply dragging left or right will flick, flick, flick through the screen. So you would just hold here, this would expand in size, and then you'd be able to move left or right to flick quickly through the screens. Another thing I'd like to see is the app tray at the bottom of the screen be accessible through an upward swipe. At the moment we have notification through a downward swipe, but here we have to double press to get this. I'd like to see a swipe up. I'd also like to see a way of clearing out this tray rather than having to do an app at a time, simply an option to click one button, maybe in the settings, to clear out all these apps. I'd also like to see an option for different wallpapers on each screen. So I could have a screen with maybe 4 folders across the top that have all my games in it, and I might want to have a nice game character as the wallpaper on that screen. So I know I'm on the game screen, maybe I'm on the photography screen, whatever it might be, but the wallpaper, a different wallpaper for each of my pages as I flick through. The default being a single image, but also having that option there to set a different image for each page. I'd like to see modes. We have airplane mode, which is obviously for when you're flying, but I'd like to see other modes. We have heard of a do not disturb mode, which will stop notifications popping up at the top of the screen, but they'll still be available in Notification Center. What I'd like to see is other modes like sleep mode. I don't want my phone ringing at night, or I don't want to receive beeps about emails and text messages, but maybe I do want to receive phone calls. Maybe I'd like to receive phone calls from just a specific person, and I only want to hear the phone ring if that person calls. So modes, switchable here, would be a great addition. I'd also like to see those modes accessible through the top of Notification Center. In addition, quick access to Bluetooth and other functionality, which at the moment you have to go into General and click Bluetooth on and off. What I'd like to see is just in the top of Notification Center, some easy buttons across the top, a Bluetooth button. If you click it, it goes blue. If it's off, it's grayed out. The next button would be airplane mode, and maybe your other modes could be selected here, and other functionality you could choose which buttons were available at the top of the Notification Center. I'd like to see the widgets here in Notification Center open up. At the moment you can only have Yahoo Weather. I don't use Yahoo Weather. I've just turned this on for the video because Yahoo Weather is a waste of time in Australia because the weather reports are always wrong. But I'd like to see developers of apps be able to develop their own widgets for this area. Same with stock, other sports results, all sorts of stuff. Developing widgets for this area would be fantastic. So I'd like to see that happen as well. At the moment from the lock screen you can access the camera app, but it is only the Apple camera app that you can access. I have other camera apps that I prefer to use in a lot of circumstances, and if I could set them as the default camera app I would use them exclusively. So I'd like to see that opened up where any camera app that's on your phone you could use as the default camera app when flicking up. So look, there you go guys, there's some of my thoughts on iOS and where I'd like to see it go. Love to hear your thoughts. Please comment down below. I always try to comment back and reply to comments. more than happy to hear from you. Love you to like the video, and please subscribe to the channel. I'm doing my best to bring videos as often as possible, and look, I hope to bring more videos in the future. And look, we'll see you next time. I'm Simon from Tech My Life Video. Bye. It's Simon from So at the moment you have what is that? Samsung, you're trying to hijack my video. Thank you. That's cheeky. How long's that been like that for? Samsung there, see? Yeah, they know. They're going, he's shooting an Apple video, we're going to put our logo in the background.